Good morning. So I wanted to go over this video and discuss a few things. Okay, I guess my sound is working. So let's get started.
I'm wearing sandals, and I know the best thing I can do is get into the water. So I step into the creek. Because from there I can keep tracks down. Because when you live in areas like ours, you know worst case scenario. You also know what happens if somebody can't be found. And you know that staying in the water keeps scent down for dogs.
So everybody remembers these text message between Andy and Jody Sue on the day that Summer went missing. At 9:44 when he says, "Love you, you okay? Heard anything?" And then she responds to just tree grinding. Well, while I was watching Michelle Walks, the light went off. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And let's not forget these. Did you show, and we know that's Andy Picks, and tell him what was going on? Andy says, yeah. And she says, any issues? Just him saying, where was I? And me telling him, I'm on my way. Of course, you see that she got rid of the times on these videos or these screenshots she shared. And then it says, I told you be on time. He ignored him on that. But let's get into the meat of this.
From the yard down a trail. Search dog do a 3D view. But anyway, so a search dog followed Summer scent from the yard down a trail. So we're not really sure whether it was down the driveway or, as Don suggested, down the dog trail, which is along here somewhere, or even along the bus trail, which goes behind the bus and then joins the driveway. We don't know which trail, but we know for sure, according to the sheriff, that a dog did track Summer scent down the driveway. And then Burn Barrel Show said that the other strong scent was around Fred Hill's property. We know that is true. Cam from Cracking Cases stated a while ago, now I don't know whether this was in conversation with the landowner or conversation with the private investigators, that a dog...
So this was a Facebook post that the owner of that property put out. So let's keep going. I'm going to show you where I'm going with this whole thing.
Hit on Summer scent in this area. So this is the creek, Limestone Branch, goes under the road here. And I don't know specifically where the dog hit, but it was in this general area. Now, Burn Barrel Show seems to think that it was at this little culvert area here, which it could well have been.
I'm wearing sandals, and I know the best thing I can do is get into the water. So I step into the creek. Because from there I can keep tracks down. Because when you live in areas like ours, you know worst case scenario. You also know what happens if somebody can't be found. And you know that staying in the water keeps scent down for dogs.
She doesn't care. I'm using parts of her video and I'm giving her credit in the thing. And it's to prove a point. It's to show something. And I think she will be shocked and it'll give her something to think about. So we remember that Jody Sue says that she was in the creek to keep the scent down. So the way Michelle explains this, Summer traveled up the creek, is what she's saying. She believes Summer was playing in the creek. I believe somebody, since Jody Sue was in the creek, was either carried and then had to be put down. What if, this is just what I'm thinking out loud. So you guys let me know what you think as we go along. What if Andy dropped Summer and Candace and Jody Sue off down the road by Fred? One came back the creek, the other one came back the road. Just think about that while I play the next clip.
3:30 when I got elected, when Andy come in around that time. I was leaving, and we left, just went on to the store, that's about 4:30. Because,
So you think Summer went missing around 4:30 was the time that she came over?
you know, it was some between,
Because she didn't call till 6:30.
I left here at like 4:30, and then when I come back in, they done had the holler shut down. I had to take them, I mean, they let me in, they had to move everything to let me in.
So here, I believe this says 4:23. I could be wrong because it's hard to see. Where Andy says he's about to leave. What am I doing? And she says, getting me or not. You want me to, he says. But what I find odd is during this day, there's times he's asking her what's going on, which I find strange. And he put no answer. And that's at the beginning. What was she doing? Where was she during these time frames? You know, that's my thoughts on this. But we're going to keep playing it. And you see here the last response was at 5:10.
Because if Summer had been playing in the creek and following the creek down, she'd have had to get out here. She'd have had to get out here also on Simpson Road, but the dog found the scent here for whatever reason.
So what if, like I said, either they carried her down the creek because they knew that would knock off scent per se, which, you know, all dog trainers, go watch Michelle Walk's videos. She has many videos about dogs, dog trainers. But what if they were dropped off down by Fred's, and that's why the man seen Candace walking away from Fred's house? That one took the road and one took the creek. Maybe one was a lookout. This is just my opinion. I'm just thinking out loud. And they had to put Summer down at certain points because she was too heavy for two women to carry. But we're going to keep going. And hello, everybody who's come in here. This has just bothered me all day since I watched Michelle's video.
And then we know from Fred Hill that a dog also hit on his land. But it's what Fred Hill actually said, what that dog actually did, that I'd completely missed. I'd completely missed this. Now, it's in the first interview that Ziggy had with Fred Hill. So we're going to play that in a moment because Burn Barrel Show has got that exact clip on one of her videos. And I'll leave a link to this live stream, obviously, that I'm playing here. And I'll also leave a link to that video. I'm going to show you that clip shortly.
The other location that they hit very strong was right at that bridge where that creek is. I think she walked up that creek. I think she was playing and walked up that creek is what I think.
Okay. I mean, the thing you drive over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would believe that she was playing too, other than Candace was seen at Fred's property walking up the road. And Jody Sue, by her own admission, was in the creek, so the dogs couldn't smell her scent.
Yeah, he called it a bridge, but it's just like a little culvert thing there.
I seen 13 messages between her and her drug, I'm going to say drug dealer because he is, Andy. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to name his name.
Okay. This
Still got her arm off? No. Oh, that's what I was trying to catch. Still got her arm off? No. She still got her arm off? No. Oh, that's what I was trying to catch.
Good morning, Lisa.
About 3 o'clock at night, I had a car. I had a bunch of cars here at that time. I mean, long road loading and stuff on trailer stuff, and I was having to park in the road to load them. And I'd have to move to let people buy. I could take one truck come in. And I can't place what color it is or nothing. I mean, it just, I remember a truck. And it was this quality way acting and stuff. And then Andy come in and followed it out. Like he would come in to get it to take it wherever, you know.
So we know that there is a still shot of Summer in the car. This is out the back windshield, and there's the video. To me, I always thought this looks like a car in the background. And this person, I don't know if you guys can see, but to the left of the reflection, which the reflection to me looks like Jody, there's a woman in the background, like kind of behind the white car, which I would like to know who that is. You think it's Allie, YouTuber? But this person, to me, looks like Marlena. Yes, Hades, that's exactly who I thought. You know, when I first put a video out about the reflections in here, people were like, oh, it's doctored, it's doctored. So I went to the fire people, whoever was the ones who first put out this picture, and I got it from there. And then I blowed it up. And I was like, who the hell has a white car? Does Cotton have a white car? Did Marlena have a white car, or somebody she was dating have a white car? I just find it odd that Jody did her hair the same way that the reflection is on the back window. But we'll keep going. I found out that Marlena Crawford has some kind of connection to Hunter's girlfriend's mom and her best friend. I can't remember what it is, but they close. Yeah, and I know that Hunter's girlfriend's mom lives somewhere there in Churchill. That I don't know where, but I would love to know where exactly she lives, because could this be her house? But it's going to get interesting, so I'm going to keep playing.
But I can't place, I can't remember what kind of drug it is, like my mind blank on that.
So
but I remember.
I can do is get into the water.
Sorry about that. I bumped it. But we're going to go back. So on November 6th, Jody puts current mood, about to risk going back across that county line to go break GD Don's effing legs in Breach Creek. You MFN POS. Then she puts, go hang out with and jerk Voldemort's Winky on the other hill. Maybe learn how to beat each other instead of women. GD, abusive piece of shit. WTF did I GD tell you about hitting her that night? Summer vanished. I'm so GD done right now. So why would she have to threaten Dawn not to beat up Candace on the day Summer went missing? Yeah, Haiti, it's possible. Yeah, right there. And they found that dead man in her or her boyfriend's backyard, I believe. Yeah. And remember, Ronnie Lawson had his body for 2 years before he ever notified his mother, which I find really odd. So anything's possible. What, the man's body that was found? It's not a rumor. It's a fact. It was printed in the newspaper.
And that's the truth. And I've had 4 conversations with that guy. Interrupted, and it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because he was screaming the N-word at me.
The night before.
Yeah, Ziggy's.
And then I had mentioned on one of my lives about how he was trying to sling bullshit.
Yeah.
Because one of the questions by the cop.
Okay, this goes back to the truck that Fred seen, but he couldn't remember. But I think Jody gives us clarification on that. It was Fred Hill's best friend, and I can't think of his name right off, but in Ziggy's first interview with them, Fred tells all about them finding his friend's body. I looked it up. It's in the Rogersville Review. So it's true. So Jody's going to talk about this truck, but she's going to be real dismissive about it.
We were all questioned up and down the community about, I guess, what we took as him trying to say there was this, it was almost like Scarface type things, like these POC males in like Escalades, shiny new Escalades coming out of Ben Hill. When the cops asked me that, and I think Andy was with me beside me, and I literally just slow blinked at them. That's not something that would have went unnoticed. And my other neighbors up and down Beach Creek, like as we were talking and we were being let in and out of Beach Creek, we'd find each other at the gas stations, other places, and they're like, girl, did they ask you? And I was like, yeah. And everybody have a good laugh about it. And I'm like, that's Don's bullshit for the week, and he's blaming it on. They're like, what the hell? Well, I mentioned that on the live that I did in between the first N-word drop and then the, what was it, 40 time usage in 5 minutes on you the next night. That live seems to have triggered something.
Yeah.
So what I think is law enforcement has a video of this bright shiny Escalade, and when she says POC males, she's talking about a person of color. I think they know, which factually I know they have surveillance video. I've seen one that a local has there. So since she brought this out, and I brought it up prior, they've seen a person of color in a bright shiny Escalade. Is that why Dawn says the N-word all the time? It just has made me wonder. This is really, after watching Michelle Walks, I was like, you know, it makes a lot of sense. If they've seen Candace walking away, he's seen Andy in another vehicle down there. And Jody Sue, by her own admission, was in the creek. Did they drop them women off with Summer? Or did they go and plant scent down at Fred's? It's just a thought.
It's interesting. But he also said they went all the way up his driveway up to a hill where the cars were, you know?
Yeah, a little bit up his driveway, I think. By near his truck. And he
said up the hill. He said up the hill where there's some cars.
Oh,
up to a car. He said he searched the
driveway
car.
is a huge hill. The driveway is a huge hill too. So,
right. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a pretty steep hill to get up the driveway. But yeah, he told me willingly that his without hesitation, that the dogs hit on his truck, or near his truck or something. You would think that'd be something that somebody would keep out if they were afraid of getting in trouble. He's going to know that.
He's talking about cadaver dogs. He thinks that there were cadaver dogs, which are completely different from live scent tracking dogs. And as I said, the first teams that they'll send out in any missing person search is live scent tracking dogs. It's only in the days following, when there's a distinct possibility that this person might not be alive and might now be deceased, that they bring in cadaver dog teams. And we know there's been many cadaver dog teams that have come out over the months. Fred seems to think that the cadaver dogs hit on his land because Don had been there, so he had the scent of death on his claws. But no, those first dogs were live scent tracking dogs. They absolutely were. So what this potentially means is Summer was alive on Fred's land. I've talked about this before.
So either she was alive on Fred's land, or they took something with her scent on it and put it there. But that wouldn't explain the footprints, or they carried her somewhere down in that area, in my opinion. Well, you know, this guy by the name of Washington was arrested right there in Beach Creek. He was a gang member, and he had drugs and guns, and he had passed out on the side of the road. So, just makes you wonder, where was he coming from if he was in Beach Creek? And you can look it up. His last name's Washington. I can't think of his first name, but there is an article about it.
But what I completely missed was that the dog followed the scent, presumably from this area here, which is not Fred's land. I think this is the goalie's land. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll have to look at the property lines map. Up the road, which is this, was it this area? Was it up here? I don't know whether that's Fred's land, but there's a bunch of old cars there. But the dog hit on Fred's truck.
So in the beginning, they talked about an old abandoned barn. I think Cam and Allie has that on their channel. That was in that area on the other side of the road from Fred's. Could they have stashed her there in the cellar? I'm just thinking out loud. But it makes you wonder. One woman was in the creek. One was walking down the road, which is a good walk for Candace to be all the way down at Fred's. Andy was seen on the road meeting up with another truck. And where were they backed into while Summer was laying on the milk jugs? With what looks like the reflection of Jody Sue, in my opinion, and Marlena in a white car. What do you guys think?
It's a big topic of discussion for everybody in Beach Creek and what's happening with that. And I honestly think I had done a video or two that day, that evening. I don't recall if they're open or not, but if they are, they're there, and they're just hours before Summer goes missing.
Now, I've never seen the videos that she did hours before. I've seen days before. I've seen weeks before. But I haven't seen hours before. And I've seen a lot of videos after that in which she says she didn't know Candace. They just lived across the creek. They could, or the street. Her kids could hear Dawn and Candace's kids, but they never seen each other, which we all know now that's a lie. And she's had to come out and talk about Dawn and Candace. I've heard from some locals that Candace and Jody were best friends at one time. So somewhere there lies the truth. We know she knew them. We know that her kid went over to the Wells and vice versa. The Wells kids went to her house. So why in the beginning was she? It seems like everybody who was in that circle, because I believe Dawn knows, Candace knows, Jody knows, Voldemort, Andy B knows what happened. Because why would Andy say he's seen Summer's unalive body? That's not something you can sling around. Yeah, I know later when he was questioned, he says, oh, he had a dream. Just like Dawn's dream that Summer was going to vanish. Well, she did. She's still missing. She needs justice. All this has just really made me wonder, was somebody a lookout? Why were all the locals gathering to discuss what the cops were asking each one of them in that holler? Why does she find it funny? Because there's nothing funny about a missing child. I've wrecked my brain today looking for certain clips. But a lot of these clips are by their own admission. I hope so, Psalms. Hello, Sugar Moon Garden. Yes, they all know. I heard Jaspy say she couldn't believe her body was all still in one piece. What is that supposed to mean? Yeah, what is a lot of what she says supposed to mean? And I noticed she's not monetized anymore. Did YouTube take her monetization? Or did she because she was calling everybody tragedy pimps? Remember what Dudley said about Dawn the day or two before? Yeah, that he come in and was sulking like he lost his best friend. I've always wondered about that. But you guys, you should go watch Michelle Walks because she's got a long video. It's very interesting. She has the clips of what Fred says. I didn't want to take her whole video. Yes, I have listened to Crystal's and I've read her community page too. I try to watch anybody who has any content on Summer, whether I like them personally or I don't. I think we all can learn something from each other. It's too bad everybody can't get together and put all their information together. So I just find it easier to try to put clips together where it makes sense. And to me, this makes sense why they would find Summer's scent and footprints. Because, like I say, a woman can only carry a child so far. They would have to put her down and take a break. And no normal person, when they're helping their neighbor look for a missing child, thinks about hiding their scent. Who would think like that? In just minutes of a child going missing. Anyone read that book published on Amazon about Summer Wells? No. Did you read it, Woodbury? That man's kind of weird in my opinion, and I won't be putting my money to it. So if one person buys it, I hope they read it online. Oh, she does still have the money sign at the bottom of chat. Yeah, so she's the neighbor profiting off a missing child. I believe she's still a suspect. I know that Pruitt said to Benny that, number one, she's not a suspect. Yeah, YouTuber, he published it. I've seen it on Amazon too. And Smiley's World has it on her community post. Yes, some preacher guy or supposed preacher put it out. I'm sure it's my opinion that Dawn and Candace are going to benefit from that. Oh, how do we know that he's not the author and the other person's the ghostwriter? Nothing surprises me in this case. Oh, it was free with Kindle. So if you got a channel, get on there and read it. Let us hear what he has to say. Is it anything interesting? I would like to know what it says, but I'm not gonna pay for it. It just makes no sense. Until she's found, how can you write her story? How can you say what happened to her unless you were there? I still believe a lot of people are involved. Well, he said he wasn't going to publish it because everyone was so upset. Yeah, but greed gets people. That's why I usually try not to go on during peak hours. I want people just to come, and really, I like people's input because I think we can learn something from each other. Yeah, but I don't believe nothing JSP says, honestly. I think she's a distraction. He is a Mason, according to his info. He even talks about Don B. Gives all Tim's rant. Says SW was left in truck at grocery store with windows up for a long time. Yeah, I don't believe that. That doesn't explain the blood on her stomach, or her ear being black, or her fingers looking like John Benet Ramsey's. That's my opinion. But let me finish this out because there's a few more things to show you guys.
Here in the summer before summer died. Here. And you know those kids come here in the summer before summer died. They're filthy. Kids come here in the summer before summer died. They're filthy and
No, I guess I didn't put it. But you remember when Jody Sue was talking to a Daryl? I'm going to have to, I'll put it up in my community post. I want you guys to read it. But I believe that Daryl is Jody Sue playing a different part. I'm not understanding these YouTube creators who say they're advocates for children. How are they behind the scenes running scams and think eventually that's not going to come to light? What's ever done in the dark always comes to light. You know, they're all going to be held accountable, I believe, when this case is over. Green Eyes? Now, it was from a Daryl Jacobs. I don't think Daryl Jacobs and Green Eyes, I think they're two different people. I think one's a facade, just like the Stacy Slay. Yeah, you heard her talk to the real Green Eyes. Crystal talks to the real Green Eyes. Green Eyes and Daryl Jacobs are two different people, in my opinion. Yeah, Green Eyes cussed her out, but the conversations, I'm going to put it on the community post so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I clipped that in the beginning. I clipped so many things in the beginning. I have so much to go back and review now. Oh, yeah. I think he's neck deep, too, my opinion. Oh, she said it's his name's Green Eyes, but I mean, Daryl. Yeah. No, I don't think they're the same person, my opinion. Or then he's a hoax, in my opinion. Then Coggins, he is up for manslaughter charges. You know, his father died. It doesn't say who he got in a car wreck with, but yeah, he's facing heavy charges. Which we know he was in the area before. We also know that he dated one of Pam's daughters, Dawn's exes, and they all lived on that hill at one time. I see at least 4, possibly 5 people being arrested and charged in the disappearance. Yeah, well, I do too. Daryl, I heard a name Daryl recently. He has the RSO in Arkansas, friends with Dawn. Yeah, I think it's a different Daryl because this one has not been arrested. But like I said, his father passed away. But took clips of their Facebook pages in the beginning, and it was really bone chilling to see how people advertise children so freely online. This is allegedly my opinion. Don't sue me. Hello, Amorous. Crystal's Crime Time. I heard a name there recently. The book has some creepy AI generated update photos of Summer. They were alarmingly different from what TBI put out. Has Don got any friends that aren't RSOs? It seems like, he says, oh, we just surround ourselves with church people, good, loving Christian people. We know that's bullshit. We know JLR has laid it all out, all the way down to the boogeyman who lived with them. Yep. Oh, yeah, she's a good researcher. But see, that's how you know when you're hitting somebody's nerve or they got their panties in a wad, because you're saying things that they don't want out there. Like I said, go back to where I zoomed in to the back of the truck and look at all them people, which you no longer see on YouTube anymore. But they attacked me hard. Not that I don't give two shits, really, because I don't care if they threaten me. I'm still going to put out information that I find pertinent, because that's what they want us to do. They want us to just stop and not put her face out there. Let her just slide into the darkness where they get away with it. That's not going to happen. No, she was on to something a long time ago, and she got attacked. But, when Fred said they were talking about YouTubers just hours after Summer was reported missing, that always stuck with me. And then you see all these people who are playing a part. Is it scamming, or did they know what happened to Summer? Like Chase making his channel on the 4th of June. I won't be surprised if we find out that that trip to Gatlinburg is the day something happened to her, or is when they lent her out. Yeah, I seen that too. And then that one girl who was on here saying she knew him and all that, I think that's another distraction. She was sent to PG's channel. That's my opinion. Talking about cliffs in the story FH came out with, didn't Ernie film himself looking over, off, and around some cliffs? Yeah, makes you wonder if some of them Harlan, Kentucky people were plants. I emailed the sheriff of Carroll County, the spokesperson. They still won't give us any information on that child they found. So that makes me wonder. The child was 4 to 7 years old with 1 to 2 inch hair. It's really strange. Yeah, but are they a ring, Candace? Are they a ring? Do you think they're a scamming ring? And they just jump in these missing children cases? Or are they involved and know what happened? And they're either being paid to do it, or they're protecting somebody involved in it. Because, women are just involved in this type of thing as men are. It's not just men. Women follow the lead, you know. I thought that too. Yeah, I'm shaking mine. I've been shaking mine for 2 years. The farm is from Harlan too. I know. So who do you trust? That's why you don't see me. I've been on one panel to defend myself on Queen Bees, and then I've been on shares one time. But there's certain people I've looked sideways at from the beginning. Those Gatlinburg photos were alarming, even more so is that I heard Bridge Guy was in Gatlinburg around the same time. Is it possible a meeting was set up? Makes me sick to think of it. Oh, yeah. Google the RSOs around Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. You will be shocked. Violent offenders. My opinion, the reason why Dawn says they will never find Angel Summer is they had cremate her. Yeah, I've wondered that too. You know, Jody was asking prior to Summer going missing, was asking somebody to make her a buck, somebody she could trust. That stuck with me too. You know, I'm one, I suck it all in and then I try to make sense of it. No word on possible identity if the child was found wrapped in a Winnie the Pooh blanket. No, but we know there was a gray sleeping bag. I don't know, it's hard to tell anymore. I know they are getting scared of something. That they all backed off and hid for a while. Right, but some of them are popping their heads right back out. You know, in the beginning, there was a Kathy here, and I think if I put her picture, a lot of you who've followed this case from the beginning would know exactly who she is. Come to find out, she owned a crisis acting place in Virginia. And that's always stuck with me. You know, I watch everybody. I'm a watcher. I watch. I see how people act. I watch the cash apps. I watch it all. I watch the chat because so much was going on in the chat in the beginning, which made your hair stand on end, like they were talking to each other in chat. And then you go in some of them discords and you're like, what in the hell's going on here? Yeah, they did. That's what they said. Their own admission. Hi, Ivory. Yeah, she wanted a box and some chainsaws and a portable sawmill with discretion. Okay, and I'm going to bring this up. And I can't find the clip, but I clipped it in the beginning on Google. There was a big YouTuber. He had over 100,000 followers. He had a sawmill at the end of the road that Andy's parents live on. Now he's gone. I mean, it's gone. And I can't remember his channel name to see if it's still there. He's an RSO too. So I'm shocked. I should have saved all that. One of my iPhones went down, but I'm going to try to see if I can get it out of the cloud. A lot of things you would be shocked that I clipped in the beginning because you want to get things when a case starts before they start deleting things, before they realize what's coming. Who is the bridge guy? From the Delphi case is what she's talking about with Libby and Abby. So it was weird that all this time later I go back because it pops in my mind. Hey, what about this guy? Did he make Jody sue the box? You know, could he be involved because he is an RSO? Which I will go and find his picture because I remember what he looks like. He had a beard. He was like a grizzly, you know, that Grizzly Adams show, that kind of looking guy, but with black hair and a black beard. But all these locals get together. Who was listening to Jody Sue talk all this time before Summer went missing? The more that things come out, the more it looks totally planned, and the distractions were totally planned. But I can't prove whether they're all scammers and it was all about money, or if they're involved in the disappearance of Summer Wells. And I guess we won't know until the sheriff department, FBI, and TBI brings it out. I mean, I know when I called TBI to say something about these people and send them certain things, they said they're well aware of all the people doing that. They're doing it on purpose. So I know they know, and they know who it is. What happened to Jasby's brother? Anyone know the circumstancing? Did he pass away before June? No, he passed away after, months after. I really don't know. Jody Sue blames YouTubers for making her miss his last breath. My brother died last year of cancer, and you think YouTube keeps you away? No, it don't. That's just an excuse, and to me, a pity party and another cash grab. So sick of the cash grabs, I want to vomit. Why can't you just make videos? If people want to donate, so be it. If they don't, so be it. It should be about the child first and foremost. I mean, if I looked to YouTube to pay my bills, I would starve. My animals would starve. So that's not why I'm here. I'm happy for people to help look for answers for this baby. She's touched so many of us. She must have a really strong spirit, because look at all of us. We've been here 2 years. Thank you, YouTuber. 2 years, here we are, still wanting answers. I think if something's not done soon, we should hold a protest, not a crazy, wacky, scream and holler protest, but like Killer Look said, everybody line up at the gate. They put that chain across the road for a reason. I believe wherever they put her to begin with, I believe they moved her. And so does EquiSearch believe that. They said they found a shallow grave. I have Facebook and was posting things in the very beginning. One was the picture of Summer in milk with the big red letter. She deleted it fast. Yeah, so many weird things, huh? Thank you, Wood Fairy. 2 years, and I don't know if we're any closer or maybe further away from the truth of what happened. Okay, Candace, I don't know. I feel like it's coming. I feel strong Dawn Candace got Angel Summer gone before CPS showed back up, so they would not find the essay. Yeah, I think that too. I don't think whatever happened to her I don't think they meant for her never to come back. I don't think it was the first time. This is my opinion. This is all allegedly, but I think they rented her out, and this time something went way wrong. I mean, what if that's what they were doing? That's wrong. Don't get me wrong. That's horrible, but it's my personal opinion that something went horribly wrong. I thought that Fred changed his story to CW drove to Fred Hill's house instead of walking. No, he has stood firm on that. You heard his girlfriend say, no, she didn't walk down here. And Fred said, yeah, she did. That's what they told him. Yeah, I heard the search team say they were brought in as recovery. Guess people don't pay close enough attention to those little comments by people we can trust. Only listen to nonsense now. Right, with Fairy. Well, I knew when she said this, when the TBI agent said this is out of the norm. And then when Ronnie Lawson and the Churchill Rescue said, we'll be looking for a folded up piece of paper, something as small as a laptop. That tells me they already knew what happened. It's proving it. I believe that too, based on what Don said about the perp trying to find a way to bring her back. It made me think he sold her. Yeah, but I think this is all allegedly. But when she was in the back of the car with the milk jugs, I asked my mom's heart doctor, does she look like she is no longer with us? He said, if she's not, she's close to it. Because the way that her ear was already black, her fingers were already purple and swollen, and that blood on her stomach. Any woman who's had a period knows what blood looks like on your clothes. I'm sure you've had an accident at one time or another in your lifetime. Or even had a kid who scraped their knee and it bled through their clothes. You know what blood looks like. You don't have to be a professional to come to that realization. I think 3 people know exactly what happened, maybe 4. Candace, Dawn, Grandis, and probably Hunter. And I just pray to God that if they drug Hunter in, that when they start arresting him, that he don't get as much time, that his life isn't totally ruined because of adults making decisions for him. I think Allie knows. When I was watching that video from Don B today, the way the grandma looked at Allie was eye-opening. Oh, yes, and the way the bottom of the jacket was pulled down and shoved between her legs looked like it was to conceal something stuffed under there to control the bleeding, in my opinion. Yeah, you can tell it was put on her while she was laying down, the way the hood of the jacket's over her shoulder. No kid's gonna lay on no damn cold milk jug. That was to bring the swelling down. Plus, they put a filter over it. Because when you watch it again, you can't see Candace's tattoos. We all know Candace has tattoos. So they had to put a filter on it. And then when the friend came out, Kathy the friend came out and showed the pictures of that jacket in the box, it wasn't pink, it was peach. I can't believe the call of Candace posting the milk jug photo and trying to cover it up. What state Summer is really in there? You know how Allie's grandma says, those kids come here in the summer before Summer died. Did she die before the summertime? Are we looking totally at the wrong date? Is everything they said bull? Because, the cops haven't even brought up the milk jug. They don't say what time, so we won't know that, just to protect the investigation. Right, no condensation on the milk because they put a filter. There was a filter to make her tattoos disappear. What else disappeared? But they weren't good at it. They were they did it so quick that they didn't think people were going to zoom into her black ear, and they didn't think about the blood coming out of her stomach or her fingers. On one of Squirrel Teach's JSP videos, JSP shows her swollen and discolored blue-gray hands, side effects of cancer meds. You're talking about JSP hands are swollen and blue? You know, lack of circulation will do that to you. My brother had cancer. I didn't see his hands turn black or purple. And my mother's brother, my Uncle Jimmy, lived 15 years with cancer that ate half of his. He was paralyzed on one side and in a wheelchair. And the only reason he passed away, the cancer was eating him. He never was swelled up like that. And the only reason he died is because my grandmother died, and he was holding on for her, and he took himself off dialysis and said he was ready to go. And they bought him food from all over the world, and he ate everything that he couldn't eat all them years. So I hope that her cancer is in remission, but it would be horrible for it to have been in remission and she's using the cancer card. That would be totally disgusting. I was able to remove a filter today. Her tattoos are visible, and so is blood on her left thumbnail. Oh, I believe you would vary. I would like to see that picture. Yeah, JSB hands. She shows them. Yeah, I wonder if she's using a filter. You know, a lot of YouTubers use filters. Yeah, I want to know. I'd like to see that too with Barry. A video just before Summer's disappearance. I don't know how. I'm not even sure how I accomplished what I did, but been working on it for months. Yeah, now that you know the color of the outfit she had on was peach, not pink, then you can, I'm sure, I'm sure there's a program that does it. Even WJHL don't count the milk jug picture, at least never used it. Well, I think because that picture in the end, the metadata is going to tell a lot what happened. You know, like with the Orrin and Orson case. They knew from day one, from the children's mouth, their own biological children, what happened to Orrin and Orson. Still took them 2 years to bring it to trial or to make arrests. They were hoping to find the bodies, but they didn't. But they still convicted them evil monsters. When CPS called, was Summer there? See, we don't know that. We don't know because they're all is a bunch of liars in this case. A bunch of lies, deceit, scams. So you don't know what's the truth and what's not until law enforcement comes out and tells us. I believe we know that she wasn't alive when they did the press conference when they were looking for a sheet of paper or a folded up laptop. And when they brought the FBI in, I'm wondering if they knew that they transported her out of state. I saved them and had screenshots, but figure it out. I could tell the difference in color of her jacket. Looks like blood on back seat also. Something shoved down by Candace's leg. I will ask my techie daughter to help me figure it out. Wood Fairy, do you mean Dawn knows how to post a photo with filters removed on YouTube? No, Dawn didn't post it. They put filters on it. Some professional did it. And you know who's the professional photographer? That's Dawn's best friend. The video is still there. Have a look for yourself. Oh, don't know how to post the photo. And how to post period. I'm old school. Yeah, it takes you a while to learn this. I was so nervous in the beginning. I still get anxiety coming on here. In the beginning, I tried to just do videos. But then I learned that you learn a lot from other people in your chat. You know, if you listen to them, if you don't overlook what others are saying. And I'm not saying take what people post as the gospel, but a lot of things you can go look up yourself and verify the information because you should see some of the emails I got in the beginning trying to discourage me, point me down rabbit holes, excuse me. Which is sick. You've been trying to pay attention. Yeah, some big chats, it's hard to, when there's so many people in there that the chat's going so fast, it's hard to keep up, too. What reason did Don go to Kentucky shortly after Summer vanished? Who knows? Maybe that's where he rounded up the people from Harlan. I don't know. Last time I made a comment was a couple months ago on one of your lives. I changed my name. I have a missing adult son from California I mentioned in your live. Just letting you know. He's still missing? What's his name? I probably have it in my notes. Something else I noticed is no frame of a camper shell in the right corner of photo. Yeah, it's weird. That still photo, first they wanted to argue with me in the beginning 2 years ago that, oh no, it's just a video and that's a screenshot of the video. And then Candace said herself there was a video that her mom accidentally did and then a picture because she just wanted a picture, but it took a video, which I think, when people are weirdos, this is my opinion, but when people are weirdos, they have to have a souvenir, something to look back on, which is sickening. Yes, since 2017, body has not been found. He is not alive anymore. You're the one who, the guy's in jail, already in prison, right? They just haven't found his body. Dave Reeder EquiSearch said they would only let the search in places they told them. Is it because they know where Angel Summer was? Let's say, I really don't. I've never understood that. I've never understood that from the beginning. I almost want to believe they are backed up to a garbage dumpster and a blue tarp is visible by it, my opinion. Okay, yeah, I remember that bandana. See, I listen. I tell you, I let it all sink in. Everything. I'm like an elephant. That's what my fiance says. I didn't never forget nothing. Dave said they were moving her, right, because they found a shallow grave. And that's why they didn't want people telling where they were searching because they didn't want them to keep moving her while they were there. St. Clair. Oh, well, thanks, bandana. I try to live right, do right, I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. That's why I started my channel, because in the beginning, it's like nobody else was allowed to have an opinion. You know, you said something that a creator didn't like, and boop, you were gone. I don't even care if people come in here who don't agree. You know, they might know something I don't know, and maybe what they know will change my mind. You don't know if you don't have an open mind about things and look at it. You have to look at it from every direction. But I say Don and Candace showed me who they were from the beginning. I believe them. I believe everything that Don has said when he said he'd see her in the resurrection. I believe they knew she was being moved around and wanted to catch them at it. Ari said as such. Yeah, well, you know, the only way our Ronnie is going to redeem himself in the eyes of the public, or half the public, I should say, is to solve this case. Give Summer justice. Bring her home. Maybe that's what JSB was talking about when she talked about her body still being in one piece after all the burying and digging up. And why was Dawn on top of a mountain digging dirt? And yeah, and why was Candace in that one video with Ernie retching her guts out by the water? These are all things we won't know until law enforcement lets us know. Really, and everybody on here, all we can do is speculate. We can look at what the suspects in the case say, what law enforcement has said, and make an opinion about it. But until we have all the facts, we really won't know. We're all just speculating. We all just want this child to get justice. I mean, that's how I feel about it. So my dog just realized I'm on live, and that's when she starts. It's like she wants to be part of what's going on. She always does it when I get online. She starts whining, and then next she'll be barking. I feel Dawn put her in that Sophie moved out and dumped and picked up Angel Summer up later. Yeah, I'm believing they took her down the road to that abandoned place. They said it was an old drug house or something that's across from Fred's. I'm hoping the idea that the Hanson guy who catches predators said he was going to look into Summerwell's case has lit a fire under RL. One can hope. 100. Well, we know this is a national case. There's people who watch from all around the world who are just as much as invested as we are. Everyone wants answers, but you can't make them do it. I mean, we could show up in force. I've wrote letters to the congressman. I wrote every representative for Tennessee. I wrote the attorney general. I mean, I've done everything I can think to do to make sure for them to know that there's people out here who want answers, and we're not going to stop. So they just better put their best on it. If they need new eyes to look at the case, then that's what they need to get. Whatever. Something the author of that book by the pastor said is that Grandis used to run a hotel motel in Arkansas many years ago. Who knows what went on there? Yeah, you know the saying, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. For her brother to have been put into a psychiatric unit. Makes you wonder what happened to them as children. And then her cousin, the Marcos guy, he was supposedly working with Frank Light the day Summer went missing, putting a fence up. And he worked at that convenience store that Candace supposedly went to that day. So did she go there thinking he was going to be there? I just have so many questions about that because, Dawn and Candace said that the Marcos guy helped take care of Dawn's mom. Well, I'm sure she wanted to leave this world if that's the kind of shit she had to deal with while she was elderly and sick. Think about it. The phone call about touching kids. She goes missing. They plan to blame it on him. Got scared, started moving her. I mean, it's speculation, but possible in my opinion. It was planned. Oh, yeah, it all lines up. That Andy's at the house wanting to touch the kids. But what Andy? Because I don't know if y'all watch Killer Looks. I know some of y'all do. But the Andy at the end of the road is a attorney, and Candace has talked to attorneys. What, really? Is he still alive in the psych unit? He's out. He's walking the face of this earth, and it is scary as hell. I'm glad I don't live where he does. No, it was Karen Goad, Don's mom. Chris thinks trafficking started in the early 80s. Yeah. Never heard of Marco Guy. Yeah, but Marco Guy's not the one that you got to be scared of. It's Grandis's brother, and I can't think of his name right now, but I have his pictures. I'm going to contact everybody who lives around there to make sure they in that neighborhood know that he's a violent offender. It's scary what he's done. The motel in California, that's where Don said his mama run. Did Grandis run one there too? I still find it odd they searched 4 miles in every direction. Why not 5? An Equisearch told by LE not to go on certain properties. Yeah, because they didn't, it's my opinion, whoever's involved, they didn't want them getting caught. People want to think it's a SEX thing, and sometimes it's not. There are men out there who like to hurt little kids. They get off on that. And it's not that they can do anything, because a lot of times it's old men. Y'all know I personally called that store way back, and I can't remember what they said. Was there a rumor of blood in that bathroom? I never heard that, Wood Fairy. Yes, YouTuber, that's his name, Warren. And he's a monster. Did you turn in the video of Candace gagging while Ernie was talking to her? Yeah, I emailed it, yes. His name is Warren something, isn't it? Yes, it is Warren, and he's a creep. Listen, I asked a realtor to see the 104 acres on Ben Hill. Guess what? It's off the market. Yeah, don't surprise me. There was a picture that come out first that Jody was in a circle doing some dances and had her face painted. It makes me wonder, were they at that place that JLR went with the guy down the road that had the benches in a circle around the fireplace? Just Don Grandis ran away with the woman. Warren Hare. That's it. That is it. So God help any children in that county that he lives in. Did you know that they rehabilitate these sex offenders? That's what they did to Don's friend in Arkansas, Daryl. He was in a mental institution for a while and got out. He's better now. He's not better. He is not better. In St. Petersburg, Florida, there's a whole trailer park. I want to say 50 trailers. It's nothing but offenders. And they reoffend all the time. Don B knows about St. Clair bathroom. Yeah, and I think that's the one that the Marcos guy worked at. Redmond. Yeah, the lawyer at the end of the road, Andy Redmond. So is that in the text that Andy Bernard and Jody Sue are having? Did you show Andy? She blacked that out, but we know it's Andy. Did you show Andy the pics? What kind of pics? Right, YouTuber, they can't. I'm gonna have to pull out all my books and see what I made notes. I didn't know how to save clips, but I sure do know how to write. I've dozens of notebooks full of every margin. I do too, Woodbury. So does Sage Sleuth. I know I'm just saying what they say. They will never be better. Yeah, I knew. I read the sarcasm in that. I still feel they were moving her during the gag video. Yeah, why she's saying, I can't do this. I can't do this. Yeah, it makes you wonder, was Ernie there with her? You know, there's too many things that were thrown in along the way. I mean, it's like it was a soap opera and all these characters come climbing out of the woodworks. But I'm sure TBI can prove who's the scammers, who's the people involved, or did they get away with the perfect crime for them? Which means other children are in danger. Yeah, chop chop. Well, yeah, you know, in prison they give them saltpeter, so they don't, so that they can't do nothing. They put that stuff in their food. I finally watched the JLR vid with the guy walking through the woods. That guy also said there was a total of 5 porta potties in that woods. Yeah, it's somebody has money. Somebody has some deep ass pockets and don't want to get caught. You know, it just plays over in my mind that Don said he was at work with his boss and the Killian guy. So, are they involved and they gave him an alibi? Or is he just a liar? You know, you just don't know. Everything is alleged. Cam reported a mattress on Woods took took Ellie 4 days. Oh yeah, they're at that campground that overlooked it too. I've always been suspicious of Ernie and his predator nation. Don't know why. Just makes my skin crawl. He might be 100% innocent, but my antenna is sure up when I hear his name. Woodbury, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's all these Looney Tunes. I mean, look at them. A lot of these people just come climbing out. I mean, I've looked up some records on some of these people, and I was like, Jesus Christ. If people only knew where their money was going, I mean, just funding more drug dealers, destroying more lives. Motorcycles and chickens. Jason Arnold. Yep, that was his best friend, Red Hill's best friend. Your instincts are right about it. Yes, he's hiding from the law now. Stop, princess. Right. Yeah, you know, everybody, God gave everybody that sense. Everybody has certain instincts, just like animals have it. We all have it. Some of us use it, some of us don't. When somebody makes my hair stand up or side eye them, you know, I pay attention. Well, the alibi I keep hearing Don talk about from that day is late in the evening. He doesn't mention talking to anyone until after 3 at work. Right. And you've seen that his boss has a red truck with the ladder rack. You know, why hasn't that came up? But Killer Looks is knows it. Jeff Bobo knows it. It's just the way he reported. He talks about the red truck. He goes on to talk about the guy saying that she was sacrificed. And then he jumps back to talking to Tucker Drywall. So the red truck kind of got lost in his translation. But then when Killer Looks did that video, you can see the red truck at Tucker Drywall. It parked in the driveway by the shop out back. The human aid, whatever, that tried to get Hunter. Oh, that biker group. Bikers. Bikers for something. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. He was a weirdo, too. He had a record. I mean, when you look at it, all these people that have records on here. I really won't care. I mean, there's people on here who know who I am. I don't care that they know who I am. You'll be digging your whole life to find some dirt on me. Because I've never been to jail, never been in trouble with the law. Knock on wood, never had a speeding ticket. So I really don't have nothing to hide. I just hope that there is no cartel involved. That's the ones you don't want to talk about because they can reach out and touch anybody because they have people all over. I know that for a fact. One of the many connected to Summers' case that are either wanted by the law or in jail now. Yeah. I want to know facts about how long after Don arrived home, all hell been out of shape and went to jail. When did Jose leave? How long was Jose there afterwards? There's conflicting things about how long Jose was there. Jose has one thing. Don and Candace say another thing. I really can't give you the answer. And I think it was days because Jose talked about drinking beer with Don when he came back from Utah. But like I said, I can't tell you. I really don't know. The stories are heartbreaking. But I'm glad that Don's probation officer's making him come back to Tennessee. Whatever the reason, I don't care. I think wherever he started, he should finish his probation. You can't lie and keep lying and conning and get away with it. If the PO said he could go work in Arkansas, the PO expected him to work and get another probation officer. He must have not done what he was supposed to do. Is no one not a criminal associated with this case? Yeah, I would like to know because there's a lot of YouTubers who's come in here who are scum of the earth. There's RSOs that are YouTubers in this case, which I about died when I learned that. But I think he's made a video that he's shutting his channel down because he's been through too much. On one of the YouTubers' posts Don was on, Don said he borrowed a truck from a worker and left his car set so no one knows he wasn't at work. And I believe that. I believe he was the one in the red truck that day. That's my opinion. We all have them. We're all entitled to that. It's just that Jose told so many stories about the oldest boy and interactions with him that one would think Jose was there with the oldest boy for months, but I thought he was in Utah with Don. Right. Yeah. Something don't make sense there. There's a lot of the stories from the people who were in that holler that day that don't make sense. Just like poor old Jackie Dobbs. If he's innocent, God bless him. But why in the hell did Andy have Dobbs' number if they got in a big old dispute? If I bought property and you ran me off my damn property, I'm not giving you my damn phone number and you're not buying my property. Period. I just don't know how he got Dobbs' phone number. Lamplight originally in fall and sold around the week of missing. It's now in downtown Kingsport. Yeah, they had that building. And, they had the Boy Scouts meetings and all that in that building that wasn't too far from where Don and Candace lived. And guess who was the Cub Scout leader there? Ronnie Lawson's son, Brandon, was a Cub Scout man. I found that really eerie. Just so many. I can see why the TBI is having a hard time, especially they have to connect to who's involved that have knowledge or were there when Summer went missing, accessories. And then they have to figure out who are the scammers. And then they had to check out all these crazy ass leads from these people who've inserted themselves. And then a billion people call. But then it makes you wonder what all was really reported too, because they tell you, oh, don't call. I already reported that. Don't call about that. I already reported that. But now that all this shit's coming to light about them, did they really report it, or was that part of their con? Billy Wayne has protection order file 7-5. He's the leader. Yep. I think Jose stayed there for at least 2 weeks after Don came back from Utah. Yes, I can't wipe JD from my notes. Not yet. I heard JD mention he had called his son to come to Ben Hill. Allegedly, of course. Yeah, Wood Fairy. For him to do that one video and say, a murderer, a murderer. And people were saying, oh, that's just how he breathes. No, he was saying, a murderer, a murderer. He was saying it for a reason, whether it was towards the people on Ben Hill or he's another distraction, That's what I'm not sure of, especially when you hear that video with that woman saying, God makes me horny. And he says, who? God does. He wanted you to have me or some shit like that. And then he says, Dr. Ross. And that was supposed to be a pocket dial. Right, that's why, Kay Sloan. I believe that too. But I heard Candace swears her mom took him straight to North Carolina that day of the fight with Don. And then Jose said it wasn't North Carolina, it was somewhere else. Who knows? Like I say, they're all liars. Billy Wayne is the head of the Lamplight Theater, I think is what she was saying. Yeah, who can? Who can believe any of them? Every one of them in that holler, in my opinion, is a liar. We can only hope Fred's telling the truth, but you really don't know. I mean, to me, he sounds the one most believable, but I won't be shocked to find out that Every one of them was at some powwow that day, I have to ask myself, how in God's name could that pocket dial call even make it to YouTube? So somehow it was to a local's recording, like he pocket dialed somebody he knew. He has relatives in Beach Creek, second and third generation people when you look up his background, but nobody talks about that. But he come out in the beginning and said he was going to sue people, so everybody shut the what up. But yeah, somehow he pocket dialed and it went on some woman's recording and then she released it. And then there's even Facebook messages that a YouTuber did, which I don't know if that YouTuber is still online, but there's messages where she's asked, and I have them too, that somebody called his wife that them two got divorced right after this too. Remember that? And somebody contacted the wife and was asking, and she was like, "What, innocent child? What are you talking about?" But we don't know if they're true or if they're made up. Even the big YouTubers like Icked makes shit up. Okay? That's just pure facts. Why they do that in a missing person case? Well, I know why. It's all financial gain, but it's sickening. They're going to be smited one day if it's still open. You can say that again. She must be the better liar, which is why Dawn sent her to the horse pond alone to meet CM, in my opinion. Yes, see, he didn't. CM made him nervous, I think, because of his law enforcement background. Oh, I saw JD's Facebook before he erased it and deleted everything. Creepy. All those missing children on his pages. Brightwood Fairy, and he went home and he shaved his hair and his beard. He shaved all of his head off the top. He was bald-headed. He went from a grizzly-looking man to a clean-cut, clean-shaved, like bald, like he was removing his hair. I don't know, it grows back, and they can take hair from your underarm, your pubes, your ass crack if they have to. There's other places if they need evidence such as hair that they can get it. So, I don't know. I'm not accusing, I'm just saying there's things he's done that seems a little weird. So you have to keep that, filed in the back. I feel the day Sam went to the home, it was Angel, Summer, or Dawn in that shed. Candace would not let Sam look in. It could have been old Dawn's best friend, the meteor manager, hiding in there. Like I say, nothing in this case will surprise me. If they come out and said it was a cult and they sacrificed her so they could level up to go to heaven and wash Don of all his sins, that wouldn't surprise me either. Like a Jim Jones kind of church. I'm saying none of it would surprise me. Right would be something they didn't want CM to see for sure. And then it made Tim so mad he had to put a whole video about it. But he's a creep, I think I wouldn't be surprised if she's at Bay Mountain where Tim did his video, in that cement building that's across the creek that he was videotaping across from the wolf pen. I mean, nothing, like I said, will surprise me, but he made sure we knew that he talked to Don's judge in reference to that big red house there on the waterway by Bays Mountain to see if he was related. So he made sure we knew that he was in communication with the judge. He also went and filmed that one video, which he said these are for Don's children to look back at so they know the story. But why would you go sit at a school behind a schoolyard and videotape children coming out, leaving school that day or going to the whatever they were doing? You could hear kids playing, like the bell rings and then the kids come out. Who does that? Yes, why would some old man pack up everything he owned to camp out on land he bought sight unseen? Why? Well, like I said, there are people out there who get off on watching little children be hurt without ever touching them other than beating the shit out of them. I've always had a strong feeling about Bays Mountain. Me too, YouTuber. Me too. If I was a betting man, I would put my money there. But that don't mean they haven't moved her. Yeah, he does, for somebody who says he just met him. But, when ELP started putting out, Enchanted Life Path started putting them videos out about Tim started deleting his Facebook messages. But it's kind of too late for that. Because Enchanted Life Path already got them all. I'm going to speculate JD can't come forward with the truth because he might bought more than land that weekend. And that's a possibility. That is a possibility. But, he said he left, or he got a motel the day before, so I guess he wasn't actually gone. But until law enforcement lets us know, we won't even know what day did she really go missing. We know what day they reported her missing. We know the time they reported her missing. But like I said, they've never verified the milk jug video for a reason. And then for Hunter's grandma or great-grandma to say, those kids come here in the summer before Summer died. That makes it sound like the summer prior, those kids came there before Summer died. I don't know. I look at the way people word things. Like the TBI lady saying that this case is outside the norm. And then the rescue squad guy saying, we're looking for something as small as a folded up piece of paper, or even a laptop. And then when you see that the FBI come in, usually that's because they believe the person crossed state lines. Yeah, he was living in Georgia. He was living in Georgia with his wife. So I can't tell you why. He had lived there for a while. And then one day he decided he wanted to move to Beach Creek. Maybe because he had family in Beach Creek. Which, like I said, nobody talks about that, do they? There's certain things people don't talk about. But everything's, I guess, not meant for YouTube. I'm just hoping they're going to wrap it up. Because, Ronnie Lawson did say to News Nation that he was coming out with a statement soon. So he hasn't come out. I thought, oh shit, when they did that artist rendering of what Summer would look like 2 years later, I thought, oh shit, maybe that's what he was talking about. But he's not the one who came out with that. Number one, Summer needs to be found. I can't wait for this to come to a close. I want to know how much I've learned, what's right, what's wrong, all of the opinions we've had. Me too, Bandana. So many coincidences, but there's really no such thing as a coincidence, in my opinion. Ellie is saying they are looking into the days leading up to Summer vanishing. Yeah, Lisa, that's what I'm saying. Chase423, which Chase happened to be the cartoon character that Summer liked. Of course, they had the little guys and the what they call flowers, we call cactuses. But I've often wondered, even about Prayer Garden, because, they made that prayer garden, which looked like they already knew she was passed and bringing wreaths to it. That was weird. But Chase made his channel June the 4th, then deleted the channel and came out as Chase423, or changed his name. I'm not sure exactly how it worked, but he did it on the 4th. Supposedly, Penny started her channel on the 4th. And then with Jody talking about hooking up with YouTube, or talking about YouTubers 2 hours after Summer went missing, is these people Squall Teats, Chicken on a Stick? I'm just thinking out loud. Penny, Chase, are they all in bed together? Like I said, is it true? Is it a scam? Is it to make money? Or are they directly involved in the disappearance of Summer Moon Utah Wells? Do any of y'all remember Jose talking about a favorite blanket Summer loved? If so, was it Winnie the Pooh? I don't know. I really don't know. I would have to go back and listen to Justin, but that's something Justin would probably remember. I look, every time a new picture comes out, I slow, like old videos of Summer and her mom and them, and pictures, like in their old vans and all that. I look for that gray blanket that they found in Carroll County with that child. And I would think if it's the boy whose mom's already in prison for his disappearance, that they would know, because they said the child had 1 to 2 inch hair. That means they should have enough of something, because the way I understand it, the skeletal remains were intact. So you would think they could get like pulp from the teeth, roots from the hair. Somehow, some way they should be able to get DNA, you would think. That's my opinion. 8 months, going on 9 months now. The child was found in September of last year. Nothing was posted on NamUs till February, which an outside agency, the sheriff told me, posted that. I didn't know anybody can post on NamUs. I don't know if you guys know that. So if you see a kid going missing, you can go on the NamUs site and you can put in what you think. Because everybody was at me saying, oh, 5 years. That child's been there. They said 5 years. The sheriff said, no, he didn't say that. That's not what he said. Read his statement. It's not he never said nothing about 5 years. No way would they know until all the lab work come back how long that child had been there, because they take the maggots, the flies, whatever insects were there at the time. That sleeping bag didn't look like it'd been there 5 years, in my opinion. TBI has stated that they are investigating the circumstances in the days leading up to the reported disappearance of Summer Wells. That statement means so much. Was she gone already before the 15th? Exactly. You got to listen to what these law enforcement are saying. They say it in a way, they're really being blunt, but people don't listen. They hear what they want to hear. I'm guilty of that, because sometimes I go back and either I've missed something or I misspoke and I didn't hear it the way it was said. But that's what I listen to. What law enforcement, we know law enforcement can lie, but what law enforcement says, it's the key word there is she was reported missing on June the 15th. Did she go missing prior? Because if you listen to Jackie Dobbs and you think he had nothing to do with it, he's an innocent man who just showed up to Beach Creek to a property he bought. There was a group of people, including Andy's mother and father, but he says a group of people approached him. So did they have a party, which has been said many times by many different people from the holler, the days before Summer vanished? Or did it happen that day? Whose body in March 4, 2023, just down from the home? I think that was the Taylor guy. Right? I could be wrong, but I believe it was the Taylor guy. Isn't it weird how many people's died during this too? That are intermingled with these people? I find that odd. Doug was sent a message between H and Candace that was earlier in June than the 15th. Wonder if it was before. It wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, if they were talking about it, just, number one, why are you in a creek and trying to hide your scent from the dogs? Number one, that's just the craziest shit. And, but people like them know that that's the best way, which is bullshit. Any dog trainer will tell you that's bullshit. Like I said, go watch Michelle Walks, and she's got 4 or 5 videos about it. None of the things they say make sense, but it sure makes sense if they were either dropped off at Fred's or they took Summer up the creek. And one came back the road and the other came back the creek. Or one was the lookout. TVI also says that in reference to any proof of life for the 15th, only that she was reported last seen by her mother at her home. Yeah, she was also reported, they say, early afternoon hours. Stop, Princess. My dog, she always has to talk while I'm online. Hey, I thought I was odd something CM said to Leslie. Was Leslie a nurse? I've heard that. I don't know that for sure, but I've heard that. There's so many questions about what could have happened, especially Tim putting that his friend's kid got I don't know, kidney transplant. I don't remember what organ it was the day before. Dobbs with the Dr. Ross video. If Leslie's a nurse and Jody has cancer, it just makes you wonder. And all these people scamming, how many are on disability because a doctor traded off, signing off for Social Security for a thing. I don't know. It's just a thought. You thought the same thing about the Creek 100. Yeah, when I was listening to Michelle Walks, a light went on. I mean, I was like, no, Summer wasn't playing in that creek. Wherever she was before she got in that truck, it wasn't playing. Whatever happened to her before she got in that truck was probably pure hell. Yeah, Leslie's dead. Who else is unalived? Jose. But that's what I say. If there's a cartel connection, because you see Hunter doing all them gang signs. Could be something, could be nothing. But Don throws out the N-word all the time, and then the cops and the FBI agents are asking him about a shiny black Escalade with a person of color. All them things just make you wonder. I heard someone say she only worked at Walmart and wasn't a nurse. If so, was seeing playing with words? Makes me think Leslie maybe played nurse with SW and CM was aware of it, allegedly. Yeah, you notice they were all buddies. All of that whole group were buddies. And Dawn says when Summer disappeared, they all turned. No, they all separated themselves. They wanted no connection to them two because they didn't want to go to prison. They need to look at Evelyn's case again and connect the two. Too much of a coincidence, in my opinion. Yeah, and I was looking at some stuff on Reddit about Evelyn. I need to post that. I don't know. I don't like to do a bunch of lives. That's why I keep a small channel too, because I don't come on all the time. But I'm gonna put a few things in my community post that I think people need to see, because I believe there's a connection. Earl Taylor was found unalive the day after Summer went missing. Right. Did he walk up on something? Did he see something that he didn't want no part of? And they got rid of him? Did Leslie know too much? Did Marlena's daddy know too much? Or granddaddy, whatever he was to her? Hello, Outdoorsy Live. Yeah, they all scattered like flies. 100%. And you notice they all lost their kids. All but Jody. But that also can be calculating. I don't know where he was buried. He was found face down in a ditch. But nothing to see here, no foul play here. That's the shit I just can't. I mean, my sheriff, he goes and arrests this couple, left their little baby. They went out partying on the 4th of July. The kid's 18 months old. They took 2 kids in. She says the dad was supposed to bring the 18-month-old in. But I guess they took a drug test. They were drunk and high. They left that baby in the car and she cooked to death. It had to be like 120 degrees in the car. They didn't remember her till 11:30 the next day. They came in at 2 in the morning. Hunter's grandma passed away also. I heard that, but oh, Hunter's dad said no, that's not true. So is it true? You know that for a fact, Maureen? I'll look it up. Sorry, I should be saying unlive. I don't care. All they do is demonetize you. I don't care. Thank you. Do you remember the young woman found in a creek around there a few years ago? Yes, that was Breonna Taylor, but Breonna's mom said it had nothing to do. They have the guy who did that to her. She says it has nothing to do with Summer, but I think he was Hispanic. The one, I know he was Hispanic, I should say, or he looks Hispanic. I could be wrong, no. But he's in jail for that. What if this is trafficking and Holly Bobo's connected to it all? Wouldn't surprise me. Nope. Just heard it on another channel. Yeah, but somebody asked Andrew that in one of his lives weeks ago, and he said it wasn't true, but he might not know. You know, he comes on, he's another cash grab. It's cash grab. He's got people who come on his channel even though he has panda bears, and his channel was moist for a while, and it would make you vomit some of the things these women talk to him with him, so, but they were giving him money, so. Yep, Jose, Leslie, the Taylor guy, Marlena's dad, Jody's brother. I don't know what happened to him. When I thought that was a rumor, it's not true. I'm not 100 on it. I'll look it up. No, sorry, but think it was Beach Creek. What if they are holding people up there? Bucks Club, that don't surprise me. It goes on, they said that is taking, human trafficking is taking over drug trafficking as the #1 money maker, with running neck and neck is organ harvesting. So they just got a guy at the border in Ukraine. I wish we would quit sending money over there. This guy was going around telling these families that, let me pay you $1,000 and I will take your children to England and put them with a good family. So after they got him at the border with a child, they checked his phone and everything and found out that's what he was selling their organs. He wasn't taking them to a good family in England. So what happened to them 2 other kids that they know about? I asked. Anyone think the voice uses Candace, alleged cousin, sounds familiar? The one who called in to say it was a mix-up between SW and MC Dollar. I've heard that voice before. I don't doubt it. I'm telling you. There are so many people that infiltrated. They paid this one, they paid that one. They have YouTubers set up. They send them to certain channels. Them channels unknowingly promote these other new YouTubers to the case. But I think it was all planned out. That's my opinion. And then they go in and they just make the biggest mess they could possibly make of it. The good thing is law enforcement don't base their investigation on YouTube. That's where they're sadly mistaken. There's more going on than we know about, in my opinion. Anyone heard of Cassidy Rainwater? Somewhere else, but held in a cage. I think I did hear that story too. I mean, look, the perfect place is the mountains, secluded, the middle of nowhere. God, can you imagine the hell somebody could be going through? I mean, anybody, whether you're a child or an adult, that would be pure living hell to have to live like that. I would make them unalive me. I can promise you that. They would have to. Or I guess I'd just be tortured worse, but I just couldn't do it. They say never let somebody take you to a secondary location. One time my mom was driving in Ybor City in Tampa, and at the red light, a guy got in a car with a gun. Well, he didn't realize around the block was the sheriff's department. So my mom pulled in there, and she says, all I thought is they could go ahead and take me here. At least I might get some help if he does do that to me. Just be dog, a guard dog, garden what? Yeah. Seems like she gets a lot of visitors throughout the night, too. Does anyone believe that what Fred Hill has been saying from prison? YouTuber? I believe that somebody told him that. Was it true? That we won't know until law enforcement comes and lets us know. But, you know, meth heads talk a lot of crazy stuff. When they're high, they get meth psychosis because they've been up for so many days. They talk the craziest things. I do know a dog, especially a pack of dogs, and the best security system money can buy. Ain't no stranger getting within a mile of my house. Even mailman leaves packages at the gate. I know, I got 5. If you can make it through the yard, then God help you if you get in the door. And by the time the dogs are done, I'll be ready with my pew-pew. But now everybody in the state of Florida as of July 1st can conceal carry. You don't even have to have a permit. Our governor signed that into law. Yes, Fox Club, yep. And Jason, and Chris, which, if you look it up, look who the head of the chemical company, Eastman, look who the head of the chemical department is, the CEO or whatever of the chemical department. And look at who Don was talking to at his job site. And that's all I'll say about that. It's weird. I wonder if February remains reported. CW goes to ER. Caught man falls off the cliff. Boy tells CW they ain't coming back. The Wells take off to Arkansas. Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences. You know, it's sad that God made it where everything's balanced out. You know, you don't have a positive without a negative, a good without a bad. It'd be nice if it could be like heaven's supposed to be when you leave this world, but I guess then you wouldn't have something to look forward to. I had German Shepherds and Rottweilers. Never had to shut my doors, let alone lock them. No, but, you know, I had a neighbor years ago. Oh, it's been when I was with my ex-husband. and my mother-in-law cut her hair. She lived on the next road, and when the electric guy come, he said, "Have you guys been robbed?" And he said, "I bet not with all these dogs." Well, the lady, she had two Rottweilers. They tranquilized her dogs. When she came back, her dogs were on the outside of the fence, knocked out. That's how whoever was robbing the houses back then did. I just had too many because somebody dumped 9 dogs and I had a fish farm. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to get them good homes." Yeah, they got a good home with me. Yeah, when I read in that article that the mother said that Candace Hare, said that Rose fell off a horse and knocked her head, so she was probably disoriented and wandered off, I about died. Because I had never heard that before. That YouTuber we bred canines for LA, I know exactly what you're talking about. Summer disappearance caused problems, opened a can of worms. Well, I thought it would shut them down in that holler, but we see they're still selling drugs and probably not missed the beat. I was hoping that the last 2 years that nothing could happen to nobody else, but maybe they got local Ellie in their pocket. Who knows? This thing about RB being at Ben Hill, interesting. Yeah, there's so many, and I think that's why law enforcement has to connect all the dots and make sure. Must have been career burglars to use tranquilizers. Yeah, that I never heard of before. I haven't heard of it since either, but that was weird. But shoot, humans are taking animal tranquilizers now. It's crazy. Then you just get more weirdos. Like Boston, could you imagine? I don't know if any of y'all live there, but when you look at videos of all the people on the street just hunched over because they're so messed up, I don't want to live in that zombie world like that. Remember JSB bought her dog out and they were searching, why did she move her dog? Yeah, I was looking for that today. It's hard to go through all her videos, but she did in that text string, which I couldn't find, so it must be on my iPhone that broke. So all my stuff should still be in the cloud. Hold on, my dog wants out. Sorry about that. Yeah, she was writing to Andy that she was going to take her dog out for a walk or something to that effect. Don't quote me on the exact words. But the guy who had the scent dog was pissed because that big old dog tried to get into it with her dog. That was purposely done, in my opinion. Probably because of traffic. JSB even said she had to take her dog to the vet the next day to have his stomach pumped because she was afraid he had been poisoned during the abduction, allegedly. Yeah, I would like to see the vet receipts on that because that dog died a horrible death. Had something like his brain his head rotted or something. Yes, and she said the dogs are the key to Summer's disappearance, but she never explains why she thinks that. Maybe YouTuber because the dogs might have followed him up the creek. My opinion. Allegedly. Dogs are the key, she said. Maybe it's her dog. You know, wherever you go, your dog. My dog will follow me back and forth to the bedroom, to the bathroom, to the laundry room. If they're loose, they're gonna follow you. If you leave that property, they're gonna leave that property if you're on foot. Either that or somebody locked them up. She said they come back smelling like hay. Oh, now she wants back in, my dog. Yeah, I always wonder what she meant by the dogs are the key. There were rumors about the dogs. I have a bad feeling about the Carroll County remains. Me too, Kimberly. Me too. You know, I've stayed on that. On, oh, I want to say May 29th is when I sent the email to see if I could get a follow-up about that. And she just said whatever name it says, that's all the information they can release to the public. First, she had asked me because she was on vacation till the 3rd, so I didn't get the response till the 3rd because I got a response from her on the 23rd saying, what child? So then I wrote back the one from Carroll County. I mean, the one from the Iron Ridge area with 1 to 2 inch hair that was 4 to 7 years old. And she said all the information they could give me, which I'll put that email too on the community post. How could her big dog not have kept creeper peepers off her hill? That's a good question. He was a big old dog, beautiful dog. I do, YouTuber. I kind of have that feeling. Because why would they wait? Why have they not said nothing? But somebody said that they have to remove the child's name from the Amber Alert if they found it. But I don't believe that if they're trying to keep that information under wraps. Dick Dollar, whoever he was, said the dogs were given chicken livers and rounded up into a Toyota Tundra. Yeah, something happened. Too many dogs. Nobody couldn't move around my place without my dogs going nuts. Because I have dogs outside, I got dogs inside. Hey, what fair YouTuber I do, but I'm not sure. I don't understand why I was told 2 different stories, and they had Summer's records. I asked them, have you heard about Summer? Yeah, we won't know, Kimberly. She should be saying law enforcement holds the key. Law enforcement is the key. Law enforcement holds the key. And all we can do is try to put the pieces of the puzzles, as Jody would say, together. It was the 4th. Bothers me even more that certain creators and people associated with this case are from or near Carroll County, Virginia. Woodfair, you said it. I didn't. if I showed you guys a video, here, I'm just going to say this. I got a video of a guy who stole a car with a child inside. This was a couple years back. The video is of a couple years back, I believe. If this ain't a YouTuber, I don't know. Then I need to get off YouTube. That's all I can say. I found it like, I want to say 6 months ago. But I was like, wow. Wears the clothes like 'em, walks like 'em, looks like 'em. You would say, wow. That's all. I'm not going to say who is. I'm just saying, if you looked at some of these YouTubers' backgrounds, people are feeding them money, which in turn feeds them dope, alcohol. They have horrible crimes. Like I said, there is an RSO, maybe 2 RSOs. I'm trying to confirm this second one. Selling drugs to children. I just, you just shake your head. I know, and I agree. The sleeping bag had not been there that long. As of yesterday, they still have no ID. Nana's Angels called. Yeah, I have the email. I'm going to put on my community post. I got it back the 3rd. It's strange. How do we even know if Candace gave birth to SW or boys? When BP asked Don if Candace was the biological mother to all the kids, he about had a seizure. We can just hope that law enforcement has done their job. And there's Carroll County, Indiana to Delphi case, and that found biggest case ever seen. There are lots of mirror image aspects to this case. Well, look at who runs Carroll County. Look at the last names there. You will die. That's all I'm going to say. Just go to Carroll County and look up who their representatives are, who their judges are, who the attorney general is, who runs that town. You will be like, what? No, it's not Doug. No, it's definitely not Doug. Donna mentioned that Jason, and there's the diver man was called Jason. He sounded like BB. Spent a few hours yesterday watching WJHL videos. Lots of info, in my opinion. Oh yeah, I go back and I watch. Seems like you learn more and more each time you go back. When you first hear it, when it's first live, I think you're just so into looking for what you want to hear, I should say, than paying attention to what they're exactly saying. But then you go back and you're like, wow. I try to look at their body language too, how each one looks at the other when they're answering certain questions. Just like Don B did with the video of the interview room, the way that Allie's grandma was looking at Allie when Hunter was answering questions. Don's response was that there was a gag order and he couldn't talk about it. The behavior panel knew something we don't, in my opinion, because why would they even ask that question? Yep. And like law enforcement, this is my opinion. Law enforcement went to Fred once he was arrested. They're not just going to say, "What do you know, Fred?" No, that's not how they do things. They already know something that they believe he has the answer to. They're just trying to get, to me, my opinion, clarification from him because they already know certain aspects. Just like when they asked Jody about the black SUV, they didn't just pull that out of their ass. They didn't just say a shiny black Escalade with a person of color. It's because they have something that tells them that they've seen with their own eyes or some kind of digital evidence. They have something, is the reason, in my opinion, they're asking these questions. That they're going to certain people. Because what if Cotton's cell phone had something on it and he was talking to Fred text message or something? I don't know. And that's what made him go. You know, they always, you watch these interrogations, most of the time they already have the answers to the questions or they wouldn't be asking them. I saw pictures of Dee Dee as a life flight medic holding a cooler with in it for transportation. Yep. Yeah, and he was with the head of Egypt too. There was a picture of that. Yep, they were very interested. And, you know, they're, like I said, I'm sure there was some kind of law enforcement directing them with certain questions. Did you? That gives me chills. I do not like that man. Don's co-worker on a live. Yes, him too. Right. Just one right after another after another. I don't know if it was him that his sister come and had questions about that herself, not believing that he did it to himself. They were very interested in Dee Dee, and their inquiries got Don more red-lipped and flustered so much he was tongue-tied for a few seconds. Oh yeah, he was nervous. That's what I don't understand, because when I did the video of how the West couple acted and how Dawn and Candace acted, but the behavior panel said one thing about the West and another about the Wells when they were saying and doing the exact same thing. You looked it up, didn't you, Hades? Yes, yes. Bingo. Don't you find that odd? You know, I just don't like to tell people. Because sometimes it's better for people to go over there and look for themselves, and then they're like, damn, she's right. It is weird. Yes, there are. So don't you find it odd that a child's body was found between 4 and 7 years old with 1 to 2 inch hair back in September of last year? And who runs the county? The Goad family. Coincidence? That's a lot of coincidences, and that's a 2 hour and 30-minute drive, I believe it is. 2 hours and 15 minutes, something like that, from the Wells property to the location they found that child. It's not that far. 4 hours from the early afternoon hours till 6 o'clock. You could drive it and be back home. Yeah, and I think that's why Leslie Earhart said this case is outside the norm. So many moving parts. And I think they knew if they brought it to YouTube and they got this shit stirred because we all care, right? We're not going to listen to somebody say somebody's selling drugs to sedate and touch children, and a mass of people are going to call. No ifs, ands, or buts. Things that people have said along the way has made people call in. That's why they say they don't want tips from YouTube or Facebook, because they crammed up with so many tips that it's overwhelming, because they have to check every person who calls. They have to check to see if it's a legitimate lead or not. So can you imagine, just say 1 million people are watching, and if 10% call in, that's 100,000 tips they got to go through, which just jammed, which made their investigation take longer than it should. They found the remains in September, and up till then, Don was communicating with the boys. He was released in October and told never to contact them again by the courts, allegedly. Yeah, and I guess that's supposed to be a coincidence, too. Because, see, September, they weren't sure. Okay, when they first found the remains, they weren't sure if they were human remains, okay? So then they sent it to the medical examiner's office in Carroll County. The medical examiner's office said, yes, it is human remains, and then sent it to Roanoke, Virginia, I guess to the FBI lab. And that's where the remains are, as far as I know, till this day. Strange. Because even the boy in the suitcase, who they didn't know who he was, they pled to the public, help us help identify this child. But with this, they're not peeping a word, okay? It took them from, I can see September, they weren't sure if it was human remains. By October, they had to know it was human. And then it leaked out in February, so then they had to make a public, response. Hi, little Deb. So, yeah, it just makes you wonder. I just don't believe in coincidences. I don't, like I said, like Katie said, Goad, Carroll County. When I was looking into that way back, I was like, I cannot believe this. If I say this out loud, people will not believe it. So I'm just going to tell them, go look what family last name runs that town. And then ding, ding, ding. That's what I always like. I read what people say in the chats, and then I make a list, and then I go look to see if I can verify what they're saying. Is it true? Is it true? Is it their opinion? Is it speculation? Or is it fact? That's all we can do, is you have to wade through the shit. If y'all read some of these emails I got in the beginning, you'd be like, wow, do they really believe I'm going to believe that and I'm going to follow that? I had a dead end just when I started researching to see if there was any truth with what they were sending me. Right, Gibbs rule number 39, no such thing as coincidence. No, we learn that. The older you get, your parents try to tell you, your grandparents try to tell you. Everybody, I guess, we all got to learn on our own certain things in life. If you can only go back and know what you know now, and go back to being young again with the knowledge. But that's not how life works. We have to go through the school of hard knocks. see for ourselves. So, all right, you guys, I've been on here 2 hours and 30 minutes. I don't want to do a Jody Sue stream. So until next time, I'll try to get them things we talked about. I'll put them in the community post probably later this evening. So I don't know if y'all get alerts or if you just, when you look through the community post, if you see. But I'll put the things that we discussed. JSP gave the money up on her own decision, in my opinion. Do you have a Facebook or email? Yeah, it's whenevilentered@gmail.com. And I also have a Facebook, When Evil Entered. I only have like a few videos that I put over there. Really haven't put much to that. You're welcome, Marie. How can I contact you without sight up here to send you things? You can send it to my email if you want. That's fine. Yeah, I'm always up to learn or research new things in this case, because this case has really had me hooked. It's got to be some kind of chemical, because I can't do it for no 12 hours. I don't know how you sit there for no 12 hours. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Southern Deputy Crime. She got on somebody's. Like if you make fun of people, that's against terms of service. You're not supposed to make fun of people's looks. There is going too far. Oh yeah, Lady R. And I love your videos too. So anybody over here, if you haven't checked out Lady R's channel, go over there. Anybody else have a channel that's in here? Because there's so many channels and then you don't know who has it unless somebody tells us. Like I said, I'm all for, I watch everybody. Whether I like them and I don't like them, I watch. If you're talking about Summer, I'm in there to see it. Well, Woodfair, I'm glad you came over here. I do too. I like getting everybody's opinions. No, I want everybody's opinions. Like I say, how do you learn if you don't listen to what other people have to say? You can't be closed-minded. I'm open-minded. Wow. All right, well, I'm going to get off here, and I will post them things in the community post. Go sub up over to Lady R. And thanks, you guys, all for caring about Summer. Eventually, we're going to get the answers we've been looking for. I would pray that she's alive, but the way law enforcement talk, I don't think that's the outcome. But until next time, you guys.